What is up, race fans? It's the ISO Racer, and I just wanted to take this opportunity before we get into the video proper to just address some concerns you might have. Now, if you've seen the title of this video, obviously you're aware that we're racing at the Russian Grand Prix. And at the time I'm recording this video, the time this comes out, the current situation in Russia with the Ukraine is still ongoing, and it's still a travesty to see that we still have to fight meaningless conflicts just for seemingly absurd reasons that, yeah, it just doesn't make sense. To explain, I recorded this episode back in November. So obviously around that time, this whole political situation hadn't occurred yet. And we had, so obviously, I kept Russia on a calendar. If you must know, when I make videos, I typically do sort of like a random selection of tracks. So I don't actively choose which ones that I want to race on. I let sort of fate decide, kind of similar to how a real calendar is formed. And, well, unfortunately, as much as I would like just to skip over this race and pretend it didn't happen in the storyline, obviously the point swings that occur will influence the championship overall. So I have to include it just to fulfill every bit of criteria. Now, from season 5 onwards on this game, that was when Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's when I actively made a decision that I will not race around Sochi in the game, because obviously in my support for the people of the Ukraine who are suffering through this terrible, traumatic, and unnecessary time. So I just want to put it out there. This is not me actively sort of supporting what Russia is doing. This is just the way the world has happened and facts have transpired. Now, for season 4, we will race around Russia again because that is very important to the storyline of that championship, just solely for the points. However, from this point onward, Russia will not be a feature on the calendar, at least on my end. So I just want to put it out there. I just want to say that I stand in solidarity with the people of the Ukraine. But that being said, hope you enjoy this video. We're here at the coast of the Black Sea for the 2023 Russian Grand Prix. We've returned to the Sochi Autodrome for what is no doubt going to be a thrilling qualifying session around this old Olympic venue. Let's see what our drivers have to offer this weekend. Here's your practice report, though, for the Russian Grand Prix, and Nobuharu Matsushita gets the upper hand on his teammate Keito Watanabe, who's down in 13th. The Japanese driver Watanabe, usually very good around this circuit, as evident in his ecstatic and impressive drive in 2021. Watanabe 10th in practice 2, and in practice 3, he pips his teammate yet again 8th overall to Matsushita's 11th. The Japanese driver, former reserve driver for Toyota, will be hopefully trying to repeat on his initial point-scoring debut at the British Grand Prix. Here's the setup for the Russian Grand Prix, and not much downforce is really required around this circuit. News from the weekend, though, and Toyota re-signed their deal with medical brand A+F, and they also signed another sponsorship deal with Lupo Industries, again, the technology brand that supplies all the team's electronics and computers. Here is the pecking order, though. All the focus on reliability, trying to make the TF112 a reliable car, has allowed Alpine to jump Toyota as well. No rain anticipated for the weekend, but shock news that Daniel Ricciardo announced his retirement ahead of the weekend, so a seat opened up at McLaren. Here we go. Through the final corners of turn 17 into turn 18 now, as Watanabe barrels towards the line, and it's not a great time. He's 4/10 up on his previous time. Around the final corner, Watanabe goes. He's in the drop. And Watanabe makes it up into 7th place. Matsushita down in 12th, so both Toyotas make it through yet again. The Red Bulls look to be the cars to beat, which is quite surprising considering that the Russian Grand Prix is typically a stronghold for the Mercedes. Around the final corner, turn 18, keep nice and close to the apex, across the line, 8th overall for Watanabe on the medium tire. Towards the line again, but no improvement on his time.
He's on the soft tires. He's going to get one last run. He's down in P9. He's near the drop zone, but he's not going to make it to the line in time for a lap. And Watanabe not only gets out-qualified by Matsushita, but he's down in P13. So the qualifying is 2-1 in favor of Matsushita, which is quite surprising. However, Watanabe will be able to start on the medium tire. Overcast skies. It's no winter event, but we're here in the sunny resort town of Sochi, here around the Sochi Autodrome, for what is no doubt going to be a thrilling Russian Grand Prix. We're here at the Sochi Autodrome for an event that has been on the Formula 1 calendar, well, since its return in 2014. And we're here at this iconic venue where the 2014 Winter Olympics were held all those years ago, and this time we'll be racing motor cars around this venue. Let's see what our drivers can do around the tight and twisty nature of this circuit, where there are some very good sections to overtake, especially into turn 1. Here we go to starting grid for the Russian Grand Prix, and Valtteri Bottas is a bit of an expert around this circuit in the past runnings of this event. He's won twice here and would have won 3 times if not for that controversial team order in 2018. Let's see if he can extend his championship lead. But here's your starting grid for the Russian Grand Prix. It's Valtteri Bottas on pole position and his teammate Lewis Hamilton on P2. So a front row lockout for Mercedes, although Hamilton will have the inside line heading into that little kink that is turn 1. Sergio Perez 3rd, Norris 4th, Leclerc 5th, and Carlos Sainz 6th, Daniel Ricciardo 7th, Alonso 8th, Gasly 9th, and Keita Watanabe gets promoted to 10th overall. Verstappen down the order on it with an engine penalty alongside Antonio Giovinazzi in the junior AlphaTauri team. Lance Stroll 13th, Sebastian Vettel 14th, Yuki Tsunoda 15th, and Marino Sato for Alfa Romeo in 16th. Ocon down the order of a grid penalty in 17th is Zhou Guanyu in 18th, and then the rest of the grid. Matsushita, Russell, and Latifi all on grid penalties, and Nikita Mazepin, the hometown favorite, is down at the bottom of the grid. Here we are. Our starting grid is set up. Let's see how they get off the marks here in Sochi. 5 red lights. The drivers are raring to go. Can Bottas get a good launch off the line? It's lights out, foot to the floor, and is off to the races as Valtteri Bottas gets a great launch off the line. But Lewis Hamilton gets an even better one. Around, down the inside, he's into the lead. Sergio Perez beats Bottas. He's actually had a terrible start as Watanabe charges down the run towards turn 2. He's going to dive down the inside of Antonio Giovinazzi and Daniel Ricciardo. He gets a little upset on the curb though. A little contact of Gasly perhaps, as Ricciardo is now past the AlphaTauri, and they're going into turn 4 now, but he goes a little wide, and there was that contact between Ricciardo and the McLaren. He just announced his retirement, but the Honey Badger looks to be just as perky as he was when he first came into the sport, as Watanabe dives down the inside of turn 5 into turn 6, and Ricciardo, does he edge his front wing, and is he looking to maybe see if he can get his nose into the gap? No, he can. Watanabe holds position in 10th, where he started, but on those medium tires he'll have longevity comparison to most of the drivers ahead of him. Through turn 10 we go, down the kink of turn 11, and here comes Daniel Ricciardo, who doesn't have DRS, but the McLaren is indeed a faster car in comparison to that Toyota. But Watanabe still in the slipstream, still very close. Does he dare to make a move into turn 13? He goes down the inside, and that is an audacious and scintillating move that's completely cut Ricciardo off balance, and he's been passed by Antonio Giovinazzi. So instead of gaining 1 place, he's lost 2. This is Antonio Giovinazzi closing in on Keita Watanabe. He goes very wide through that corner, and oh, there's been a contact there at the rear wing. And was that front wing damage for Antonio Giovinazzi perhaps? And that's confirmation as Giovinazzi enters the pits very early on this lap for what is undoubtedly going to be a costly front wing change. Here goes Watanabe. He's going through turn 8 now into turn 9. And oh, he kind of gets unsettled on the curb. And that is very, very close for Watanabe. A good save. He's closing in on Pierre Gasly. DRS and ERS deployed down the straight. And it's very easy to catch a slipstream and very easy to gain a lot of overspeed. He goes into turn 2, down the inside, last of the late breakers. And Watanabe makes the move on Pierre Gasly. It's for P9. Closing on Fernando Alonso. Does he dare to make the same move again? He does! Down at the inside to turn 13 and catches Alonso with his pants down. And you don't really see that from the Spaniard. That was an exceptional move. Let's look at the replay. Watanabe's already made this move on Daniel Ricciardo. The DRS did help and that move was totally fair. No contact between the two. It was hard, but fair racing. Closing in on Carlos Sainz now. DRS and ERS deployed. Is he going to dive again? Watanabe sure does love a dive bomb down here at the Sochi Autodrome, and he does, down the inside of Sainz. What a move. Those medium tires really working for Watanabe, as now the first of the soft tire runners pit on this lap. Leclerc, Norris, Bottas, and Perez all into the pits, and Watanabe makes it up into the podium places. And is that, no, that's Charles Leclerc going slowly through turn 8, and that is going to be a very costly retirement. That's 2 retirements in the last 3 races with Britain and now Russia. Let's look at the replay. Here he goes through turn 7, and yeah, just, see a lot of smoke coming out of the engine. Very similar to how he retired at Silverstone all those weeks ago, and Charles Leclerc is going to be very disappointed with how his season has...
No! What happened? Lost power. I think the turbo exploded.
And now Hamilton pits on this lap. Max Verstappen, is he going to follow him into the pit lane? He is. Hamilton goes onto the soft tires. So we're going to see perhaps Watanabe go on that strategy as well. But as he tries to overcut Hamilton, and he does, will he have the pace though to extend the gap and get onto fresher soft tires? Verstappen pits on this lap, so Watanabe will inherit the lead of the Grand Prix, and now he really has to put the pedal to the metal as he tries to extend his gap to Lewis Hamilton. As he enters the pit lane, Watanabe dives in. He'll lose his place to Bottas as he goes around turn 17 into 18 now. However, Perez, crucially, will he get in front of Lewis Hamilton? The gap doesn't suggest that he will, as he will probably be further down the grid than he would like. However, on these soft tires, he will have electric pace, and he does have some sets of fresh soft tires. Remember, he failed to make Q3, and perhaps this was a bit of an advantage that he gained from not placing within the top 10 shootout, as now Watanabe exits the pit lane in P6, and now he just has to negotiate the tight pit exit, flat out rejoining the track before heading to turn 2, and in 8th place, he'll no doubt catch up to Ricciardo and Alonso with his fresh soft rubber, but we'll see how quickly he can do so. Closing in on Alonso now. DRS and ERS. Is he daring to make a move into turn 13 again? Surely not. He is down the inside again. And he loves that move. It's such a hard move to pull off in that tight hairpin. But that is an exceptional move. Closing up to Daniel Ricciardo. And he's a sitting duck at McLaren about DRS. And especially with the soft tires and the additional grip he gets. And Watanabe down the inside of turn 2, and that is P6 for the Japanese driver. Around the final corner we go, and Watanabe actually sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so he's closing at a rate of not. Could he catch up to Verstappen and Norris? Here we go, down the DRS straight, through turn 12 now, heading down to turn 13, and Max Verstappen on the softs around the outside of the McLaren driver, but Lando Norris keeps it side by side with the Red Bull driver through sector 3. We don't typically see side by side racing through this tight, twisty complex of corners, but Norris gets the better exit with the medium tires, but Verstappen on those softs. We've seen the Red Bulls have supreme pace around this circuit all over the weekend. So what can Verstappen do? Great exit out of turn 18 in the slipstream. He's going to get DRS down this long straight. Through turn 1 we go, heading down towards turn 2, and Verstappen, will he get the move done before the corner? We'll have to wait and see. He goes a dummy, right to left. He's going to go around the outside of the McLaren. He has the better grip though. He can get the move done, and that is a supreme move, but some supreme racing from 2 young guns of the sport. He's closing up to Lando Norris now, and the McLaren, since being passed by Max Verstappen, looks vulnerable. He's going to pull the same move into turn 13, but he goes too deep this time. And how does he avoid going right into the Armco? He just manages to keep it on track, gives the place back to Norris, but that was some sketchy stuff. Look at this. There's some contact with Norris, and how does he manage to slow the car down? But he could have easily ended his race. Closing into Lando Norris now. DRS and ERS will be deployed, and Norris, again, a sitting duck without any assistance from the flap in the rear wing. And Watanabe on the penultimate lap takes P5, a remarkable recovery drive for the Toyota driver who's made the alternative strategy work in his benefit. Valtteri Bottas, he's a master of this circuit, and he proves once again why he loves this circuit. Valtteri Bottas takes the win of the Russian Grand Prix and extends his championship lead over Lewis Hamilton. But Watanabe will take the point for fastest lap, and that is a supreme drive from the Japanese driver around this circuit, where he typically has had front wing damage throughout his tenure at this race. Remember in 2021 when he made the audacious move on Yuki Tsunoda? Well, now he's got the last lap, P5 in the fastest lap, but Valtteri Bottas will be riding high over his teammate Lewis Hamilton. Sergio Perez completes the podium spots with third, and Daniel Ricciardo and Lando Norris make it a double McLaren's points haul, which will no doubt be good for their chance at Keita Watanabe, considering how much that Toyota has fallen off the pace. Has really made it work. Matsushita 2 places outside the points, so unfortunate for him as he doesn't capitalize on scoring points as his teammate has. No change really in the Drivers' Championship, but Valtteri Bottas has a 27-point lead over Lewis Hamilton, and Mercedes 68 points ahead of Red Bull, no doubt have this Constructors' Championship in the bag. And here we go, another Russian Grand Prix over, and hopefully you'll join us next time as we head to the streets of Singapore. Hopefully you'll join us then, but for now, that's it from us, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.